Hey everyone, welcome to a Talking Time with Charlie, where we're going to talk about stuff. And today we are going to talk about dealing with pianos. Dealing with pianos. Now, pianos are something that pianists have to deal with. And unlike violins and even cellos, we don't get to carry our pianos with us. They get to stay at home, and we get to play on whatever is thrown in front of us. Now, before we start talking about dealing with pianos, do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff for the algorithm. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, head on over to YouTube and watch it there and subscribe there. And if you are, head on over to Facebook and Instagram and subscribe and follow and all that good stuff over in those places too. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is dealing with pianos, because when you are actually performing and traveling, you, like I said, can't actually bring your own piano with you. Now, this hasn't always been the case. In the olden days, Vladimir Horowitz was an extremely famous, amazing pianist, and he used to always joke that he travels with three things: his wife, his chef, and his piano. Now, unfortunately, that isn't the case in most cases today, where people are able to travel with not only their wives, but their chefs and their pianos. For one reason being, it's extremely expensive to do so. Like, you know, if you were to ship a 9-foot Steinway, this is a 7-foot, but if you were to ship a 9-foot, which is an extra 2 feet long, all over the country and world and stuff, that would just cost a fortune. Not to mention, it's really hard on the pianos. It beats it up, and it's not good for its longevity, because pianos are really susceptible to things like, humidity and all kinds of stuff. So it's best to keep a piano in one place. Now, so what that means is that you oftentimes have to play on, or you always have to play on whatever they give you. Now, sometimes you get like a choice. Sometimes you go to a place and they'll have 2 or 3 pianos there, and you can try them out and say, I want to play on that one tonight, or I want to play on that one tomorrow. That's even really rare now. Some of the big concert halls will probably have like 2 Steinway pianos. A lot of concert halls, you'll have 1, and that's basically what you get. And now I'm a Steinway artist, which doesn't really mean what you might think it means. So all it means to be a Steinway artist is you have to apply, then you're either accepted or not accepted. But once you're a Steinway artist, basically just means that if you have a choice of playing on a Steinway versus another piano and they're both in good shape, you're going to choose the Steinway, which makes sense. If you're not going to play the Steinway, then why would you be a Steinway artist? If you prefer Yamahas, then be a Yamaha artist, and that's such a thing too. I prefer Steinways generally, and the other thing is that you oftentimes will have to you'll have to deal with not only the acoustics of the concert hall, but you'll also have to deal with the piano itself and how that relates to it. So you have to adjust your playing. Some pianos are harder to play on, some are softer. So even though you have a 9-foot Steinway, Steinways in particular, I found, have a lot of variance between them. Like some of them, if they're not maintained well, if they're really, really, really old, if they're just been beat up, can be really bad. Or you can have one that's just been like, it feels like it's been like, God made it with his own hands and personally sent it down to earth. They're so amazing. Like, the tone and the clarity and how you can play them and how they feel. It's amazing. And there's a lot of variance in between. I found that with some other piano brands, like Yamaha, for example, there's a lot more consistency between piano to piano. I found that Steinway has a lot more variance, but the good ones, the really good ones, are incredibly good. So there's a lot of variance. So you're going to have to deal with a lot of that, right? And so when you're performing, not only do you have to deal with how the piano feels, how hard it is, how soft it is, how bright it is, how mellow it is, all those kinds of things, if it has any problems. And a lot of times pianos do have problems. Sometimes notes stick, sometimes notes have issues, sometimes notes stick out, and sometimes it's unbalanced, a whole bunch of things. You have to compensate for all of that stuff as best you can. But you also have to deal with the acoustics. So like if you have a really, really hard to play, mellow, kind of dead sounding piano in a huge concert hall, that's a problem, because then you basically just have to really, really work really hard, and you still might not be able to project as much. Vice versa, let's say you have a super bright, super loud, super whatever piano in a smaller room, so that no matter what you play, it sounds like you're banging. That can be really difficult too, to control and to make sound really good. Anyways, these are things that you're going to have to deal with, and a lot of the times you'll get to meet with the technician, the piano technician that comes in and works on the piano, and you can oftentimes even if you don't meet the person, you can like leave a note and say, oh, could you check this note? I think it sticks out, or the pedal's a little whatever. And technicians can oftentimes do a whole lot of good to piano. They can really, really change how a piano feels. But, they aren't magicians either. Like there's a limit to which you can't take a piano that's been neglected forever and suddenly make it sound like, a spectacular, amazing one just by working on it for a few hours. It's just not going to happen. So there's a limit to what can be done. So the best thing, I think one of the really important things to know how to do as a pianist who's performing and playing on different pianos and stuff is to learn to deal with the pianos, because you're going to get some that are amazing and you're not going to have to, it'll be just great. You don't have to worry about it very much. You can just focus on the music. But then you're going to have some that are crap, and you're going to have to, really work at making it sound as good as can be, because it's not like you're just going to get there and the piano's not great and you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to play on the piano today. I'm not going to give the concert. You can't do that. I guess you could, but then you probably wouldn't be invited to give concerts anymore if you're that kind of a picky person. So you got to deal with it. So learning how to make those kinds of adjustments is important, and just learning how to be able to, just being able to have the ability to deal with a wide range of situations, including pianos, is really important. And again, other instruments like a violin, they have to adapt to the audiences, the concert halls and all that, and the way they play. But a piano is much more difficult in the sense that not only do you have to do those same things, but you have a whole new instrument that you have to deal with as well. So you just have to compensate for a huge amount of more things. Boy, my English is great today. You have to compensate for so much more. So anyway, being open to, all types of, things you have to deal with is, I think, really important, because again, it's very rare that you're going to have a perfect piano in a perfect place. That's just not going to happen. In the old days, as a Steinway artist, they used to actually ship a piano anywhere you wanted that you were performing. They have stopped doing that. That would be awesome, because then you could have like a new piano shipped from wherever nearest Steinway selling place is, and then you have a new piano playing wherever you are. That's not usually the case anymore. But most big concert halls have good pianos, and even smaller concert halls oftentimes take care of their pianos and have good ones as well. But you do run across the occasional piano, so you have to learn how to deal with it. Anyways, I hope this kind of was interesting, or at least helpful, or something like that, because it's a very real thing that pianists have to deal with on a regular basis, and that is dealing with pianos and what you get, because you got to play on what they give you, and so you have to be open and able to accommodate a wide range of pianos. I've even given concerts. I remember one time I was at a place. They had a grand piano, but it was something was wrong with it. Like a string was broken right in a key part, like an important part. So it would have sounded terrible to give a whole concert on it broke, and there was no time to fix it or whatever. But they had a little upright piano on the side of the stage. It was actually in pretty good shape. So I gave the entire concert on an upright piano because it was just better. And so you have to learn how to deal with stuff, because you're going to get thrown, or you can get thrown a lot of stuff when you're out and about performing. Anyway, hope that was interesting. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe and healthy. I'll see you all later. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.